Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another week of me trying to be profitable. And this week was an interesting one. As you can see from the title, I got absolutely rinsed this week. The market ran in my pockets, and honestly, yeah, now you guys will just see. I'll show you guys the trades. Alright, another week, so let's get it. I was thinking of risking less today just to get myself warmed up, and again, taking it slow and focusing on the points I learned from last week, like patience and not forcing any setups. What I was looking at today was how price was reacting to INWOG and the low time frame balances. I wanted to look further in today on the low time frame because of the changes Topsip implemented, where they made the moves on the 1 minute like 100 pips, and the ES pip size was normal though, so I wanted to see if there was an SMT or any confluence that would give me a benefit to trade on ES. And I was mainly waiting to see a reaction of the 1 hour fair value gap to see what could happen. And I liked bullish Aloma because of the LRLs, though I didn't see much area to confirm the bullish bias before pushing up. And pricing continued bearish and confirmed the bearish candle on the 15-minute time frame, and I placed an entry within the 1 minute balance that was within a 5-minute balance key level. And price had a 15-minute candle confirmation bearish, so I decided to enter into this trade. And price ended up coming up, which is the first indicator that it was the wrong move because there was no retraces earlier. The price ended up hitting my entry and stalled for a little bit before coming to my stop loss for a loss of $100. And what I missed out on today was that my entry zone that I tried entering at was very shit. It was a hotspot for a reversal, and I thought it was just price just swept out a liquidity level, and it was gonna continue to hunt liquidity because it was moving a little bit differently. But price just swept out the equal lows, and yeah, so bottom tick master right here. Ended up entering as soon as price reversed. I wasn't attentive enough to with price to notice the equal lows. Honestly, I would have used that as my bullish confluence to take longs, though I didn't see where I could go for longs at the time. So yeah, I feel a little bit stupid, but looking back, I know my shit works. There was an opportunity, but I missed it up. I was just not patient enough and did not wait for confirmation. But yeah, that's about it for Monday. Alright, so today main things I noted down was that price is moving bullish towards the 4 hour fair value gap, which was already tapped into before, and there were LRLs to both sides, so I mainly wanted to see the reaction of the 4 hour range. And I wanted to be patient today and wait for the move. If nothing I liked occurred, then I wouldn't take the trade. And I was waiting, and I saw that price was stalling after hitting the 4 hour fair value gap, and we got a 1 minute change in state delivery with a retracement into the 1 minute fair value gap, which was also a BPR. And the next candle also formed bullish with it wicking the imbalance overlap, so I liked it and intended to enter shorts down to the 5 minute plus 15 minute fair value gap overlap, since that's why I reckon price would retrace to before continuing bullish. That way it would sweep out some liquidity to the south side too. And we were stalling for a bit around the break-even point with pricing like it was going to continue with some decent bearish power down to the overlap. The price ended up rallying and coming up to my stop loss for a loss of $100. And this is what I could have done today. Main thing was that I wasn't fast enough. Price was moving faster now with using the most recent imbalances to act instead of being slow moving and targeting previous draws. And I got too focused on the 5 minute imbalance within the 15 minute that I failed to realize that the 5 minute order block that was respected in addition to the 15 minute fair value gap tapping. So I was too married to my bias and not acting fast enough because I'm not adapted well enough to the market yet. And it's pretty hard to get a decent stop loss size right now because of the change that Topsip implemented. I can only really take a trade on the 1 minute for a decent amount of risk, though the stop loss placement is pretty tight and I can only risk 1 contract. And I want to risk less too just to get used to the market condition, but that makes it harder to have wider stop losses. Though in the end I can always attribute something going wrong to me making a mistake, not being patient enough, not adapting well enough, and experience can be many things, and today it was being married to my bias and jumping into a trade when all I could risk was that amount for that stop loss size. It wasn't a good sizing, so I should have just sat out and watched how market moved instead. Alright, so today what I saw first was that price is currently respecting the 1 hour fair value gap for bullish, and there was also a 4 hour BPR plus 1 hour fair value gap tapped into and respected for bearish. So I was pretty 50-50 today. I wanted to wait and see what happened with the more recently developed confluences. There were LRLs to the buy side, but the high time was tapped and was respecting bearish, and there was relative equal lows for where I could take TP. And I wanted to see if the newly developed confluences would respect bearish or not. And I ended up entering with 1 contract first, but after seeing that price was stalling a bit, I decided to try and wait for a better entry since price had developed the 1 minute fair value gap fairly close to, which was above, and I placed a limit sell at that level so I could continue with shorts after price had tapped into that level. Though price then shot down with strong bearish power, so I re-entered into this trade. I thought this would be the macro move to take us down to the relative equal lows, but price did end up coming up to hit my other entry, which gave me a better RR. Price ended up restricting this 1 minute fair value gap, so I was quite liking this trade, but then market open hit and ended up stopping me out for a loss of 180. And for this trade I would say that maybe I jumped the gun too much with this trade. I don't know, I like this trade quite a bit because I was respecting the confluences I laid out, and it was a pretty good target too. The high time ring was showing bearish and there was bearish volume coming in at the time, so I liked it. Though there were also confluences for bullish that I thought would have been overpowered by the bearish confluences, but that ended up not being the case. So perhaps it was being too attached to my bias yet again. And this is what I could have done. Price did respect the 1 hour fair value gap like I said at the beginning and ended up pushing up. And though it looks a bit chopped, price did respect the 15-minute fair value gap for bullish. I didn't notice that price had also created a slight bullish SMT as well from that push down I was in earlier, and that caused the SMT to be developed and push price further up. And yeah, this shit's pretty hard to read to be honest, but again, most likely a skill issue, and I still need to get over being too attached to a bias and just favoring the wrong confluences. Right, so looking at market today, I saw that there was a massive high time imbalance below, which hasn't been filled heavy yet, so we could see that as a potential occurrence for a price targeting to fill that imbalance. Price is also respecting the 4-hour inverse fair value gap and order block for bearish, so I wanted to see a reaction of the more recent low time imbalances that would also be in favor of that bias. And the 50-minute fair value gap was a key level that I wanted to wait and see price retest before doing anything, and I marked out liquidity levels to see where price could target, and there was quite a few draws on liquidity to the buy side, though I reckon that price is currently targeting the liquidity to the sell side. And we did end up getting some nice bearish power. Price ended up retesting the 15-minute level and respected it for bearish, so now I was waiting for a retracement for an entry. We ended up tapping into a 1-minute fair value gap and respecting bearish with some nice bearish power, which I liked quite a lot, so I ended up market selling with a target to the prominent low. And price ended up moving down really nicely. We coming really close to hitting the first TP. Though price started stalling a bit and I decided to move my TP up to the first liquidity. Though price ended up rallying straight after and came up to stop me out for a loss of 250. Today it was impatience or FOMO or something. Yes, I should have waited for price to retest the 3-minute fair value gap I had listed above the 1-minute fair value gap. As you can see here, that price ended up retesting that level, and after that price ended up running all the way down to hit TP. So yeah, I should have waited for that level to be hit. It's pretty hard to gauge when price is going to do the moves, to be honest, but I've just been getting skill issued really hard recently. And I think I'll do more entries where I place at the most optimal spot in my opinion, instead of market selling wherever, because I think I was thinking of entering after price hit that overlap level. The price was running hard, so I decided to enter, so it's something I struggle with. Doing it this way could kind of negate that. It's how I used to enter back when I did paper, and it worked out really well, and I think that part of that is because I can really minimize the risk, and also because it's entering at the best areas. Also, if it misses and it runs, it's whatever, because the idea was right. I'll probably give that a shot. I'm just trying to experiment to see how I can adapt to the environment right now, so yeah, that's about it for Thursday. Alright, so looking at the high time frame, order flow seems pretty bearish, with price respecting the 1 hour fair value gap and the 4 hour fair value gap being largely unfilled. And there were many draws to liquidity on both sides, so I could see the sell side liquidity being targeted. And looking at the low time frame, price was overall continuing with strong bearish power and had inversed the 15-minute fair value gap, developing an inverse fair value gap. And that coupled with the 5-minute change in state delivery made me like the bears a lot more today. So I was looking for an entry with the 15-minute acting as the key level. And there were also LRLs to the sell side plus equal lows, so this trade seemed very A+ to me. And price ended up developing 5-minute confluences near the 15-minute imbalance, which I used to refine my entry, and I placed my entry at the overlap between the 5-minute fair value gap plus order block, which was within the 15-minute inverse fair value gap range. And this was the best area I could think of for an entry, and we ended up getting some nice bullish power from market open, which tapped my entry, and I was in. And I decided to look away from the charts because it was an easy way of taking your mind off the charts, and I think it's a good thing. Honestly, it spares your mental a lot. But I did look on occasion to see if I needed to readjust my position or anything. I decided to place my partial at the equal lows and my final at the prominent low. Coming back to the charts, I looked away when it happened, but price came down to my partial for a nice win of 250, and from that I adjusted to break even and left the runner going. And price was respecting the 1-minute confluence really well with a nice bearish power, so I thought it would have been awkward to leave the runner, though price ended up running back up to my stop loss for break even. And today what I could have done instead was taking out full profit at the equal lows. The equal lows are stronger than the prominent low, so sweeping out the equal lows often led to reversals, so I reckon next time I could adjust to that. Take out full TP at the equal lows if it acts as a good target. Though I'm happy with leaving a runner like I did today because it was respecting the imbalances at the time, so I thought it would have been alright. But yeah, that ends off the week. Right, so yeah, pockets were ran, as you can see. Pretty tough week this week. Managed to break out of the losing streak at the end of the week, which I'm pretty happy about. 9 worked out really well in the end. I honestly liked it a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going with it. Too early to say anything about sniping yet, but it seems it could be worked out really well, and I could refine it into a really profitable strategy. So yeah, I'm gonna keep testing it. But yeah, short recap to end off the week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.